Bellingwood Vignettes by Diane Greenwood Muir. Book 13, Vignette number 4, Choices and Consequences. "I like that one," Nate said, pointing at a countertop sample. Joss shook her head. "Are you going to wax it every few months? It will take a lot of effort to keep it nice looking. That's not a good idea." "If you don't like it, why is it even an option then?" he asked. "I don't care which one you choose. Just decide and I'll like it." She swept the brochures to the floor in disgust and walked away from the dining room table. "What?" Nate asked. "What did I do? I just want you to be happy." "You've left every decision about this house to me and won't get involved in a single one, even when I ask for your help. This is supposed to be our dream house, not my dream house," she said, dropping onto the sofa. Joss pulled her legs up, tugged a quilt off the back of the couch, and wrapped it around herself. "But if you're happy, then I'm happy," he said. "I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of these things. They're only things." He swept his hand around the room. "Half of them will probably be replaced if we're going to have a lot of kids in the house. It's just not worth the stress." She slammed her hand down on the arm of the sofa. "I don't understand why you don't care. We are going to live in that house for a long time, and I want it to be right. All I'm asking is for you to put some effort into the decisions. You haven't done a damned thing with them since we started the process. I feel like I'm all by myself, and no one is helping." Joss flicked an imaginary piece of lint off the blanket. "Except Henry. He listens to me and helps me think through them." Nate turned and walked back into the dining room. "Patience of Job," he muttered. He picked the brochures up off the floor and went back out into the living room, put them on the table in front of Joss, and said, "Don't go anywhere." When he came back out the second time, he carried the plastic tote that Joss had organized all of the house planning into. Putting it on the table in front of her, he unlatched the top and set it aside. "Okay, what do you want me to decide on?" He flipped to a tab. "Bathroom fixtures. Are we done with that?" She nodded. "Kitchen cabinets. Did we figure out what those are going to be?" She nodded again. "The hardware for the cabinet doors is still undecided." Nate tugged the folder out and put it beside the tote. "Okay, what else?" "There's just so much," she said. "Let's look at hardware for the cabinet doors." Nate flipped the folder open. Joss watched his face and waited. Within seconds, he flipped through the sheets she'd printed out and then turned to her with his classic deer-in-the-headlights look. "I don't even," he said. "Which one do you like?" she asked. Nate glanced at her and then pulled out a page with antique brass hardware. "This one?" "There are 5 different styles on that page. Which one?" He looked at the page again and, shaking his head, pointed at one of them. "How about this?" "Okay, fine," she said. "But what if we put a gray countertop in? Don't you think that the satin nickel or polished chrome would be better? Or if we choose a butcher block countertop, then maybe wooden pulls?" She leaned forward and took out another folder. "And what about the flooring? We don't even know what that's going to look like. Chrome wouldn't look great with a wood floor, but would be gorgeous with this tile." Joss yanked a sheet out of the folder and put it in front of him. "Okay," he drew the word out. "And then what kind of chairs do we want around the bar in the kitchen? Do you even know what color we're painting the walls?" Joss slumped back in the sofa. "You're leaving all of these decisions to me, and I don't know what you want." "Just do what you want. I don't care," he said. She jumped to her feet and stalked out. "That's what I mean. You don't care. This is the biggest decision we've ever made, and you don't care about any of it. If you don't care about these things, then what do you care about? Oh, I know you care about your shop and how that's designed. You spent hours planning the layout, exactly where everything was going to go. But our home? The place where you and I live together, where we raise children, where we live? Now you tell me that you don't care. What am I supposed to think? How am I supposed to feel about that? It's like you don't care about me or the kids. You just want to blow it off." Joss was doing her best to keep her voice low. She'd finally gotten Cooper and Sophia to sleep after a long day. Fortunately, they'd had plenty of activity and were exhausted by bedtime. She stood at the base of the stairs and looked up. All she wanted to do was make a nice home for her family. Someday she wanted to have more kids in the house. Lots of kids. Coop and Sophie were wonderful. Oh, they were normal children, and alternately made her cry tears of joy and tears of frustration at any point during the day. But being their mom was an important part of her life. I don't want to blow it off, Nate said quietly, but you have to see my side of this. Oh, the side that tells you I'll take care of it if you ignore it long enough? The side that won't even take a half hour to sit with me, talk about the pros and cons of these decisions? Which side is it? Joss asked, spinning back around to look at him. It takes more than a half hour, he said, and I spend all day helping people make decisions about things that impact their lives, real things that could help them live better, or, if they do it wrong, die. Then I come home and you want me to make a decision about whether we're going to have chrome or brass or whatever hanging on cabinets in the kitchen, when in truth, all I care about the kitchen is that we eat in there. Fine, she spat. Your patients are more important than your family. I'll make all of the decisions about the house, and you can come home every night, eat your damned meal in the kitchen, and then go out to your shop so you don't have to participate in this family because it's too damn difficult. Joss snarled. But don't blame me if you don't like something. It's not like you cared enough to help. She turned to walk out of the room, and Nate spoke slowly and deliberately. Don't you dare leave right now. Why not? She taunted. Would you have to make a decision whether to come after me or sit here by yourself? We all know you don't want to do that. I will come after you, he said. It's not even a decision, and you're not being fair. Please come back and let's talk about this. Oh, I'm done talking to you tonight. Oh, no, you're not, he said and stood up. Wherever you go, I'm following. We're talking about this whether you want to or not. It might be easier here in the living room than in the bathroom or your closet. Nate gave her a small smile. Come on, talk to me. Joss crossed her arms in front of her and planted her feet. I don't want to talk. Yes, you do. Come on. Nate tugged on her folded arms. Sit down, please. She let him tug her to the couch, sat down, pulled her feet back up underneath her, and then recrossed her arms. Honey, he said as he sat down beside her, I love you very much, but you need to understand that I don't have the capacity to make these decisions. I don't know what you like or what you want. This house is our home, but it's your design. Your tastes are what I want to see fill the home, not my stupid ideas. You and I both know that I wouldn't care if I sat on an orange sofa in a lime green room with a purple ottoman. He shuddered. Okay, maybe I'd care about that, but you know what I mean. I'm terrible at this. He looked at her. Right? When she didn't move, he tapped her shoulder. Come on, you have to give me this. I mean, who is the man who bought you the ugliest blouse in the world and thought it would be perfect for you? Joss chuckled. That thing was really ugly. See what I mean? I have no taste, and just because you think I should, that won't change. I trust you to make the right decisions about what color the kitchen should be and how all of it should match. Honestly, I'm fine with chrome on the handles and a wood floor and white walls. No, she said, that will never happen. Again, see what I mean? But why don't you care about this? Oh, Joss, you misunderstand. It isn't that I don't care. I just trust you. Do you care what kind of car you drive? Joss frowned at him. I want it to work. Exactly. I like thinking about cars and looking at the specs and spending time with those things. But you asked me to pick out the color. Nate sat back and rolled his eyes. I did, didn't I? That was a bad example. He sat forward again. Okay, when you're ready to paint the master bathroom, I will care about the color of the walls. Is that enough? Not really, she said, shaking her head. I just want you to be more involved in what we're doing here. I feel like I'm all alone. What if I really screw this up? I'm sorry that you feel alone, but you can't screw this up. First of all, you're too smart for that. But secondly, you also have Henry watching your decisions. If he thinks you've made a bad choice, he'll stop you, right? Well, I hope so. But you have to start talking to me about these things, she said. I need you to be part of this. Joss frowned at him again. And we're just as important as your patients. He nodded. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Of course you are. I'm sorry too. Joss leaned against him. I feel really overwhelmed, and I worry about making poor decisions. We're going to have to live with some of them for a lifetime. I'll never complain, Nate said. I promise. How's that? Well, it will do for now. So what are you going to do about the kitchen counter? He asked. Joss swatted his belly. I don't know. This is a big one, and I want to get it right. He reached for the pile of brochures that he'd gathered from the kitchen floor. Tell me the pros and cons. If I can't make a decision, at least I can be a sounding board.